Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frank Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices and we've allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something you can see yourself supporting, well, we ask that you join the cause. Make sure that you're actively following all of our social media platforms. Currently, right now, this live program is being streamed on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook. We could be found under Frank Olivo. We also encourage you to follow our personal page on Face. We could be found under Olivo Frankie. But more importantly, if you haven't already, create a Gmail account, go to YouTube, like, follow, and subscribe to our channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. It's free. Remember, I will never ask you for money. I will never ask you for food. Well, depends what you're making. All I ask in return is something very simple of my community. You want us to continue to provide you with the latest information that's happening in our area? We'll gladly do so. All we ask in return is something that won't cost you a dime. Make sure that you're following all of our social media platforms. Why? Why do we continuously ask you to follow us across all of our social media platforms? Well, there may come a time where you may look for our Facebook page, Frankie Olivo, with 46,000 subscribers, and we may not be found. You see, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the people, to know the truth. But always remember, we will never be silenced. So if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders and those in leadership positions accountable, you know what to do. Make sure that you are actively following all of our social media platforms. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday religiously. So make sure that you're actively subscribed to Frank Olivo TV. We will not be silenced. And always remember, we are forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you provide our platform. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? The calm before the storm. I hope each and every one of you had a restful, eventful weekend, ready to start this new week on the right foot. We are March the 2nd. Wow, March the 2nd. Time flies, I guess, when you're having this much fun. We have spring break coming up within a few weeks, and then after that, summer is right around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, the day in which we've all been anticipating is almost here. Election day for the primary races is set for tomorrow. If you or someone that you know didn't have the opportunity to vote these past 2 weeks, tomorrow will be your last chance. And we have people that just prefer, that's just their preference. They prefer to vote on election day. Some wait until the last minute because they have some questions in regards to the different candidates and their platform. They may have done a little homework. Some just think of this as a Super Bowl. This is the day, and this is the day that I shall vote. We all have our preferences. I personally voted on the very first day of early voting just to get it over with. But nonetheless, if you know someone that still hasn't voted, make sure you are encouraging them to vote. Cameron County has a voter registration of 200,000 so far. We will possibly see anywhere in the range from 25 to 28,000 voters come out in the primary. Those numbers could possibly be bigger during the general election in November. But, we can talk about voter apathy. We can talk about people just not trusting the process. Nonetheless, if you haven't voted, make sure you go out and vote. Tomorrow is your last chance. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about what happens. I want to take you behind the scenes of a campaign. It's a nerve-wracking time, especially for the candidates and their their teams. They have been working hard for the past 6 months, 12. Have they done a good job of it? Have they been focused? I'm back. Have these candidates and their teams, have they done a good job of making the case as to why you should vote for them? That's just something we're going to talk about. What goes into a camp? What goes into the team? How do they prepare for the day before election? We titled this program The Calm Before the Storm, and that is how we will start today's program. Thank you so much for tuning in, South Texas. But first, a word from our sponsor.
I've dedicated my life to public service, but now I see a county that's ready for change. It's time to bring accountability, transparency, and efficiency to how your tax dollars are managed. We can lower taxes and make government work smarter for you. I'm Jonathan Gracia, and I humbly ask for your vote for Cameron County Treasurer, so together we can build a better future.
Running a campaign encompasses a lot of moving parts. You see, there is a science behind being victorious. When we think of a campaign, we have to think of, well, what are the demographics? What's the area in which the person is running in? When we talk about a race such as the Congressional 34 district, well, that is an area that has 750,000 voters, potential voters. When we compare that to Cameron County, it dwindles down to 200. Whenever we talk about a JP race, there's there's 2 JP races, a couple of JP races. That's possibly in the lower thousands of potential voters. But these candidates and their teams, they study these maps. They study the potential voters. They have done their accounting. You see, it's all a numbers game. It's a data-driven league, so to speak, because you try to measure yourself. And maybe candidates try to surround themselves, have their teams be represented by individuals in the politica world, where it's not how good you are, but we live in a world where the number one question that is constantly being asked is, how many votes can you bring me? You see, that's the cold, hard truth. Doesn't matter how pretty you are. Doesn't matter how rich you are. Well, in some cases. At the end of the day, the candidates want to know, how many votes can you bring me? Are you worthy of being part of my team? You see, whenever they prepare to run for races, they look at the candidate. They see the incumbent's numbers and they say, okay, this person brought in 10,000 votes 8 years ago. Can we compete with that? I need to surround my team with individuals, possibly that are politicos themselves, possibly, I don't know, that own daycares, that have, that will provide me with an opportunity to somehow convince their clients to bust their clients on election day. At the end of the day, that's what it all boils down to. Running a campaign is a science. Many people think that social media is not a big factor, and I would dare make the case that it is. Whenever you think about today's sources of information, there's not an age group that only uses social media. Now it's, from the teenagers all the way up until our elderly population. If you've noticed, magazines and newspapers, they've slowly faded away. They have become now the third, fourth source, where before it was the only source. My grandfather used to buy the Bravo, the Heraldo, the Herald for 20 plus years. And every morning, every Saturday, he would get his coupons and he would sit down and he would read the paper. And that is how he would be informed. The news media also as well. But now this generation has, call it technology, call it a shift in receiving information. Now it's all on social media. Now it's Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, Twitter, Twitter, and Facebook. We have seen how different campaigns have been advertising, have been using this different social media platforms because they want to reach the masses. Another important component of this is block walking. And I feel as if many candidates don't give great importance to this. Social media is big. It's very important for a candidate to have a social media presence. Again, everybody is on the internet. Everybody has phones. Everybody is constantly scrolling. Now it's the norm. If you do not have social media, you're missing out. But what candidates fail to recognize is, and I hate to shoot myself in the foot because of what we do, but candidates tend to place their focus solely on social media. The game is not won on social media, ladies and gentlemen. The game is not won on how many campaign literature you have throughout the city, throughout the county, throughout your district. It is good for people to recognize the name. Look, that person is running. I see his campaign literature. I see his signs throughout everywhere. Does that show strength? To the average person, possibly. But myself, I was fortunate enough to have community members that said, Frankie, give me signs. Let's plaster them everywhere. I wasn't successful in my race, but everywhere that I went, people told me, I see you everywhere. Your face is everywhere. You see, what these candidates fail to recognize is, yes, social media is important. Yes, having signs, making the community aware of your candidacy is important. But what I would dare say is even more important than that is having that connection with the community. How do you do that? Block walking. And this isn't the popular thing to do because at the end of the day, it's rigorous, it's expensive, and it's time consuming and it's tiring. Let me tell you, it's not easy, knocking on hundreds of doors. You got to have the manpower. You got to have at least a group of 8 to 10 people where you divide up blocks, districts, areas within the prospective district area. And one person that's block walking, they're entrusted with, anywhere from 50 to 100 doors. Here's your list. Make sure you let us know if the person answered the door, if they want to meet the candidate, if they want to speak with the candidate, if they want the candidate to come personally. Will they vote for our candidate? That's the data that's important to them. What's their number? We need to call them. We need to encourage them to go out and vote. That is by far the most important thing that many candidates fail to recognize. Again, I hate to shoot myself in the foot because of what I do, but social media is a large component of this science. Posters is a large component of the science, but an even bigger one is going door to door. Because the people, they don't relate to signs. They relate to actual people at the end of the day. And I know it's kind of tricky because we live in a technologically advanced civilization to where with a click of a button, me personally, by going live, I average, I know, chill. It's a we thing. I have my team here say, hey, what's up, bro? It is our goal for every live program that we streamed. Our goal is to get 1,000 viewers per day. We are fortunate that we've had 8, 10, 12,000 viewers, depending on the topic, of course, depending on the situation. But we get viewed by the thousands, and for that, we're thankful. But that's our goal. You see, with a click of a button, I can reach the masses. But what's even more important is face-to-face. Because ultimately, the constituent, the voter, they want to be able to connect with the person. Have these people that are running for public office, have they done so? Do they have a good track record of reaching the masses? If we look at the data that we have, we see how, and this is not just in Cameron County, but if we talk about Texas per se, we have seen in large part how the Democratic Party has been coming out in large numbers. They have outgained the Republican Party in the state. Here in Cameron County, it is no different. Currently, right now, 31,000 voters out of the 200,000 in Cameron have come out to vote. Why have we seen a large number of Democrats coming out to vote? We've said it before. We think that there's many reasons. People who previously voted Democrat in previous years, then they voted Republican for President Trump, are they going to continue to vote for the GOP? Many people are saying no. We had those crossover voters that flip-flop. Now they're going back to the Democratic Party. There is also they're very contested races when we speak of the Texas Senate. James Tellerico and Crockett, two former congressmen and two former people in Congress. Now they're running for the Senate. That's going to be a neck and neck. We have people, James Tellerico came here to speak previously, and so did Crockett. Who's going to win that race? We have also the county judge race here in Cameron. That's a very contested race. And I've heard it all, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard people say, hey, there's Republicans, hardcore Republicans voting Democrat in the primary. They're going to vote for Steve Guerra. I've heard people say they are Republicans voting the Democratic Party to vote for Eddie Trevino. Also, Elizabeth makes a great point. Not just the county judge race, but we also have the 107th Judicial District Court, where we have three worthy candidates that are vouching for your vote. I think one thing that there is a consensus of is that the 107th District Court, that race should be a runoff. I think it would be a shocker if either one of those candidates won this race without a runoff. We've spoken about this race previously, how the candidates have done everything they could to get their message across to the people. And one thing that we have seen has been how they're priding themselves on their experience. You see, you have two individuals that are making their case that they should be on the bench because they have legal experience. When we talk about Noe Garza is also making the claim that 39 years of experience as an attorney, he has seen it all, so to speak. Let me bring up the, I apologize, I had it right now. Where are you? Here we go. You see, this race is also a contested one. People are saying, when we hear Erin Hernandez Garcia, she's claimed that, hey, my experience as a JP, my focus on family cases, I've been on the bench before. I have the experience necessary. Jesus Chuy Garcia, he is an active justice of the peace. He has 8 years on the bench, if I'm not mistaken. He's asking the people for their vote. Noe Garza saying, I have 39 years of experience. I have seen it all. And look, ladies and gentlemen, for this type of race, experience matters. I have been criticized because I'm supporting Jonathan Gracia. And he is running against the incumbent county treasurer, who is saying that, hey, I have 20 years on the job. Experience matters. Whenever you talk about the treasurer position, it's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Jonathan Gracia is an attorney. He studied in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and UT, if I'm not mistaken. He's worked for on the Hill before, worked in EDC. He's well-versed and knowledgeable. I hate to contradict myself, but for this race, the treasurer race, you just need someone bright, because that's what David Betancourt is counting on. 20 years. Anybody could do what you do, no disrespect. Anybody could do what a treasurer does. It doesn't take much up here, with all due respect. But whenever you talk about this race, this is an important one. For someone such as Noe Garza to say, I have 39 years. I have seen it all. One thing that I saw Erin Hernandez Garcia's team say was, oh, Erin is the only one that hasn't represented a child molester or someone that's been accused of child-related crimes. And it got me thinking, so then she doesn't have experience. So then when she's on the bench, what should she expect? Again, being on the bench, and look, my respects to these three individuals. Anyone that is putting their hat in the ring is worthy of respect. But at the end of the day, you need someone that is well-versed up and down. So it kind of caught me off guard whenever they said publicly, because there is this allegation that was made by a voter, by a community member that stated, hey, There's this man that is a registered sex offender. If you don't believe me, look at our page, by the name Adan Salas. He was a poll watcher when they asked him, "What are you doing here?" According to the voter, the concerned citizen, Adan Salas said, "I'm a poll watcher for Aaron." Aaron who? Aaron Hernandez Garcia. So the community member was taken aback. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We have a registered sex offender who his victim was an 8-year-old child, a male child. You don't believe me? Go to our page. We have the information there. Aaron Hernandez Garcia's team was quick to say, "Oh, no, he's not working for the team." And plus, Aaron is the only candidate out of the three that hasn't represented child molestation perpetrators. That got me thinking. So then she doesn't know. She hasn't handled the case. So what's going to happen whenever that type of case comes before her as a state district judge? And I don't mean to be ugly, but Aaron's track record is not solid. There are many question marks, red flags in regards to her being a justice of the peace. And I'm not saying this to be mean. Again, my respects to judges, my respects to attorneys. I think very fondly of them. But during her time as justice of the peace, she made some questionable decisions where she went beyond her scope. As a justice of the peace, you can't sign a waiver of 72 hours to marry someone. Yes, you can marry people, but you don't have the authority to waive those 72 hours. Only a state district judge, an appellate judge. So that to me shows me that Aaron Hernandez Garcia is lacking up here. And I say that with all due respect. So again, for this type of race, is it important for somebody to be well-versed, to be experienced? 1,000%. 1,000%. So for somebody to say, "Oh, Aaron has never represented a person that was accused of child molestation," so then she doesn't know what it's like. What's going to happen whenever that case is before her? Elizabeth, you also spoke about the precinct 2. That's an interesting race as well. Whenever we talk about precinct 2, who is it? Joseph Lucio. Joey Lopez is a strong incumbent that we have seen has been in office for many years, and he is a strong and worthy politician. Now we have a three-way race. We have individuals that are pretty much saying he's not doing a good job. Joseph Lucio is part of the Lucio dynasty. He is a nephew, a cousin, I believe, of the senator, a cousin of the rep, the third. This race, will this also be going into a runoff, Elizabeth? That's what many people anticipate. Martin Arambula has been one that has been in politics before. He has run previously for county judge, if I'm not mistaken, in previous years. So he's well known, I would say. Is Joey Lopez going to be able to take this race without a runoff? I don't know. That's something that many people are alluding to the fact and saying possibly. So this race is going to be an interesting one. Probably two of the contestants will end up in a runoff. Maybe. When we look at the GOP side, that's also going to be an interesting race. Whenever we talk about Jonathan Campos, his family used to be the former owners or operators of Antonio's restaurant on Paredes Line Road. I think now it's I forget the name of the place. But you remember Antonio's, right? He's going up against Barbie Lopez, a former county employee. Now she works for an attorney. This, in recent time, has been very contested. There have been serious allegations being made against Barbie, from Barbie against her opponent, against the own GOP chairwoman. It's ugly. So precinct 2 in November is going to be one to watch. It's going to be interesting. What else? Montoya. Shout out to Juan Montoya. His story this morning is also saying that, who else am I missing? I'm missing Silvia Garza Perez. Silvia Garza Perez is in a race with Denise Garza. So what are these people doing? What are these people doing? The day before election feels like the calm before the storm. No one can see quite what's happening. There's a lot of confusion. The candidates, after months of rallies and relentless travel, now they're focusing on the essentials, closing their messages, calling key supporters. They're trying to make any last-minute appeals. They're trying to sway the undecided voter. That's what's happening right now. They're on the phone. They're checking their numbers. They want to see if those people that they asked to come out and vote, if they went out to vote. You see, during the primaries, ladies and gentlemen, you can see who came out to vote for the Republican Party or for the Democrat Party. We posted the mail-in ballots as well. Somebody said, why are you posting that? Oh, my goodness. At the end of the day, it's public information. You have any issues of us posting information that is posted by the county? Speak with Remy Garza. He is the elections department director. But that's what these people are doing. They're going through that list. Okay, this person said that they're going to vote for us. Let's go down the list. Hey, I haven't seen they voted. They get on the phone. Hey, I just want to remind you, you said you were going to vote. Make sure you come out and vote, please. I hope we can count on you. Okay, thank you so much. That's what they're doing, people. That's what they're doing. So they know that this is crunch time. Their team feels the pressure. Right now, people are worried. People are scared. People are on pins and needles, so to speak, because tomorrow lives will be changed. Behind the scenes, their teams are anything but calm. When we talk about their field organizers, they're checking their voter contact lists, the communications, the people on the phones, the staff. Some of them are drawing, and concession speeches just in case. You don't know. What if somebody wins without a runoff? The people that are monitoring the data, they're analyzing the turnout models late into the night. They're searching for any hint of momentum because you want to wake up tomorrow feeling, I'm up. In reality, every candidate on election day, they should think, I'm down 500 votes. That's the mentality that every candidate should have. I need to make sure my team is on point, bright and early, that they're fed, that they have all the energy possible, because once 7 p.m. comes, it's over. Everything that we've been working hard for is done. So there's this strange stillness in the air. People are scared. People are worried. Because elections, you feel momentum. When you're block walking, you get the thumbs up. When you pass out your campaign memorabilia, you feel the energy, and that motivates you, and that encourages your team, because the team feeds off on momentum. So what are people doing right now? They're trying to rally the troops. Look. Based on our data, based on our information, we're up. We're good. But hey, we got to keep on working. We have to make sure that we make it across the finish line. Every speech, every handshake, every headline has now been funneled into this single quiet evening today, before the story finally unfolds tomorrow on election day. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have run a race, or maybe you've been part of a race, it takes your soul. It really does. Time, large amounts of money is invested. People that you thought were your friends, people that thought, your family that you thought were going to support you no matter what, they don't come through. And it eats you inside. You see, running a campaign is the most difficult thing possible. Shortly after the race that I ran for the school district, I wasn't victorious. And somebody said, would you do it again? And I said, hell yeah. I wouldn't even think about it. It's demoralizing. It's a time where people are soul searching. My friends aren't helping me. My family isn't helping me. I thought people told me in my face that they were going to support me, not just with money, but boots on the ground, passing out campaign literature, and they didn't come through. That, as a candidate, I can assure you, is the most heart-wrenching feeling ever. But that's politics. Remember, once you run for this position, you are scrutinized, you are susceptible to everything. Agárrate. Because this is what you signed up for. So tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, at 7 p.m., we will go live. We will provide you with election day results. Who out of all the races is going to be able to avoid a runoff in May? Many people are predicting several races. Is there one in your mind that you can say, this person is going to win without a runoff? That's going to be interesting to watch. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frank Olivo TV. Best believe we'll come on Monday through Friday religiously. All we ask of our community in return is something very simple. Make sure that you're down for the cause. Make sure that you're actively following us on social media. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Tomorrow is the big day. Make sure you encourage your friends and family to go out and vote if they haven't already. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace. Mm-hmm.